Hello everyone, my name is Professor Julie Hanson and I am very pleased to introduce you and welcome you to Elementary Accounting 2, which is the second in the series of the the Principles of Accounting classes here at UCSD Extension. So I wanted to give you a very brief overview of your Blackboard course. I'm sure you know how to navigate it, but I just wanted to point out some of the finer points of our course to get you going on it. So I believe you'll arrive at the announcement page. So I've said this is how you get started in your accounting class, and what you'll really want to do is click on the introduction link next. So if I post any announcements throughout the semester, which I might, then those will be listed here, but you'll also get an email about those. Okay, so if you head on over to the introduction link, then you'll see a little blurb about me and see a little picture of my favorite animal, Allie, and then you get started by clicking here. So notice that I've put a picture up here that really to navigate throughout the modules, there's this little magical right-hand arrow up at the top here, and that's how you'll navigate through. You could also navigate through by just clicking these. I just find it easier to go through the arrows. Okay, so the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to ask you to join me on Remind. And Remind is just a happy little app that allows us to text each other and we don't have to exchange telephone numbers. So it's a really nice, handy way to do that. So when you click on that link, then it will actually launch into Remind and ask you to join it. Okay, so you can also really easily do this by just tapping in 810102, that's the 2 number, and then typing in our join number, which will be UCSD Sp18. Okay, you can also go to the website www.remind.com/join/ and then this is the magical thing. Okay, so again, you can just take your cell phone and type in the number 81080 in the 2 thing and then type in the @UCSDSD blah blah. Okay, so I'm sure you can figure that out, but you're going to enjoy that. Once you log in, once you launch Remind, it will just be like you and I texting each other, and I know that that's a very common way to communicate these days, and it actually gets it gets to me very quickly, and I answer those texts fairly quickly. Okay, what's next? So then the next thing you're going to do is post to something called Padlet. You can see that, well, this is me over here, and I've just posted something a little bit about myself. So you'll click this little plus button down here, and then you can add a little selfie. So that's kind of fun. Both of those last 2 things will require that you actually open up a new tab, so you'll have to come back to Blackboard every time. Okay, and then what's going to happen next is we're going to have a discussion board. So if you just click to launch that, it'll take you over here. And I have already kicked things off by introducing myself. You can create a thread up here and introduce yourself. The only requirement I have, and this is worth 5 points, is that you introduce yourself and tell us something about yourself. I'm sure you've done this kind of thing before in an online class. And then you look through just one other person's posting and say something brilliant about what they've said. And that includes me. You can read what I've said over here. You just click on that and you can read it. And then there's a little reply thing down at the bottom. Okay, so what happens next? I actually need to go back to the introduction. The discussion board kind of takes you off in the never land. All right, so then you'll read the syllabus, and the syllabus is found over here, and then I have a little tiny quiz for you. And once you take the quiz, then all of the things in the lessons are going to appear. So you can see that right now nothing is appearing in lessons. Well, guess what? You have to take the syllabus quiz first in order to have all of the lessons appear. So I'm going to actually pause the video for a second and answer my own syllabus quiz so I can show you what the modules look like. Okay, I'm back, and I just wanted to let you know that as a student, I went in and took the actual syllabus quiz, and that allows me to then proceed to the next area, which is called lessons, and you can see that now all of these weeks are appearing. So one thing is that if you see something called mark as reviewed, you'll want to mark that as reviewed so that you can release the next set of assignments. So, and if you get confused, I made a little cheat note thing here called progressing through the weekly module. So don't stress out if you get lost through all of this. Now, you'll notice that I've put a couple of things together just to keep it really straightforward, hopefully, is that there's a couple of things that are due in week 1, and I've separated them out by chapter. So in this example, you can see I've got week 1 and another week 1, and there's 2 chapters due. Now, thankfully, there's not much due in chapter 1 for that, so that you really, even though it looks like you have 2 chapters to accomplish in the first week, you really only have 1 because chapter 1 doesn't include much. And then you'll see that the midterm is here. You'll also notice that chapters 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3 are all due on the same date as the midterm. So I really chunked our assignments together so that they're all due at the time of the midterms. So again, there are 4 midterms, and there are basically all of the chapters for that lead up to that midterm. There is one makeup exam, and it is a comprehensive one. It can replace any exam that you have throughout the semester that you feel you could have done better on. So let's say you take the makeup exam and you get a 95, and one of your lowest exam scores was a 70. I'll throw out the 70 and replace that with a 95. If you take the makeup exam and get a 75 and your lowest score was an 80, well, I'm not going to take that final exam, that final makeup exam. Okay, so it can't hurt you, it can only help you. Anyway, I will be around on Remind, and you can feel free to ask me any questions. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out is under the tools here, that's where you're going to find your grade book. So you'll always be able to find what your grades are, and those automatically transfer over from Connect. So I look forward to being with you for the next part of this year.